Welcome to the Deep Dive. We unpack the key insights from our sources, and today we're looking into something really quite surprising. It's the evolution happening in the Chinese watch industry. Our mission to explore this shift in perception, away from just mass market factory towards real artisanal craft. It's fascinating stuff.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, I think, will really show you how fast things are moving there. And importantly, in a really positive direction. There's definitely something cooking in China, horologically speaking, that's, well, quite interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, because I think for most people, when you say Chinese watchmaking, the image is still, mass production, affordable stuff. But the sources we've looked at suggest it's becoming an outdated view, right? What's actually happening over there.
Yeah. That's exactly it. I mean, that image of China as just a low-cost production base, while, okay, it does still exist to some extent, it's really being overtaken by other things now. You've got the big players, of course, like Peacock and Seagull. And Seagull, let's remember, they can make seriously complicated movements, like split-second chronographs. That's proper watchmaking. But beyond them, there's this really burgeoning indie scene. We're seeing names pop up like Atelier Wen, Logan Quan Rao, Neo Kung, Qin Gan, Pham Al Hut. But for today, the guy we're really focusing on is Qian GuoBiao.
Right. GuoBiao. He sounds like a key figure. An independent watchmaker crafting pieces mostly by hand in Dongguan. And he's got this great nickname, the Tourbillon Doctor. Tells you something, doesn't it?
It really does. He's genuinely one of the more established names on the scene, even though the independent scene itself is still pretty young. He's seen as a leading figure, for sure. And his background is fascinating. He didn't just start making watches. His career actually kicked off restoring and servicing really complex mechanical watches, high-end stuff. So he gained this incredible, deep understanding of how movements work, the really intricate ones, before he even started designing his own calibers.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. I remember seeing his Face in the Sky 2.0 watch. That got quite a bit of buzz. And this new double balance wheel model we're diving into, it's kind of an evolution of that one, yeah. At least the base movement has links.
That's right. The underlying architecture shares some DNA.
So what about the outside? How does this complex mechanism actually look on the wrist? Okay, aesthetics. This double balance wheel. It might not be what you expect on the outside. It's got a 39mm steel case, 12mm high, about 46.5mm lug to lug, pretty standard dimensions. And apparently Qian GuoBiao himself wanted a very deliberate lack of flourishes, a really minimalistic case. But, our source was pretty blunt about it. Call the case maybe the least appealing element. Said it felt a bit too generic and could, use a more distinct design, maybe more detailed finishing. Is that something you see sometimes with independents, where all the focus just goes into the engine, so to speak?
That's a really fair question. And yeah, sometimes, especially with true artisan creators, the movement really is the main event. It's where the passion lies. But moving past the case critique, the dial is actually quite different. It's also very clean, very discreet. You've got a white copper base, frosted finish, and just two simple blued steel hands for hours and minutes. That's it. But the key thing, the visual interest on this otherwise quite empty dial, is you can see one of the two balance wheels right there. And it's held by GuoBiao's signature balance cock, that bridge holding the balance. It's multi-layered, arrow-shaped, made of steel. You see it in a lot of his work. And on the other side, there's a little screwed plaque with his name. A nice touch.
Okay, so one balance visible on the dial side, which leads us to the real party piece, right? You have to flip it over. That's where you find the Calibro AB03, produced and assembled entirely in-house by Qian GuoBiao. This is the core of it.
And that's where you see the second balance wheel. Now, this is where it gets technically really interesting, because this isn't your standard twin balance setup. Most systems like this use a differential gear to average out the rates of the two balances. Or they rely on resonance, where the balances influence each other to sync up. Qian GuoBiao's approach is different. The two balances share the same axis. Okay. But critically, there's no differential. And it doesn't use resonance. Instead, somehow both oscillators are made to beat in perfect synchronization. They both contribute equally to the timekeeping. It's a really clever way to potentially get the stability benefits without some of the usual mechanical complexity. Pretty ingenious, actually.
Wow, okay. Getting two balances to beat perfectly together on the same axis without a differential or resonance, that sounds incredibly difficult to achieve. How does he actually do that?
Oh, it's absolutely demanding. You have to imagine the precision needed. Each hairspring has to be perfectly matched. Each balance wheel has to be adjusted just so. Every component's position is critical. It really speaks to meticulous handwork and adjustment, the kind of patience you don't often see.
Right, it's pure craft. And we mentioned this caliber ABO3 shares architecture with the Facing the Sky watch.
Yeah.
The specs are interesting, too. It beats at 18,000 vibrations per hour, quite a calm traditional beat rate, and it has a 40-hour power reserve.
And the whole thing feels very artisanal when you look at it. It's all assembled by Qian himself. He uses traditional materials and finishes. You can see details like a woodpecker click spring that's a lovely old-school touch for the winding mechanism. And look at the escapement bridge. It's like a blade, but it's built up in layers of steel. That's not just for looks. It adds structure and depth. It really turns a functional part into something quite beautiful.
Yeah, you can really see the hand of the maker in there.
Yeah.
Which I guess explains why this watch is so exclusive.
Exactly right. Because it's so handmade, production is incredibly limited. We're talking maybe 1 or 2 watches per year. And if you want one, the wait time is apparently around 12 to 18 months.
Okay, so yeah, definitely not something you just pick up. It's a serious commitment. And the price reflects that too, right? USD 40,000, it comes on a custom strap, and you have to inquire personally. That really underlines the bespoke nature. But thinking about the market,
Yeah.
how does a piece like this, at that price, from a Chinese independent, position itself against, say, established Swiss or German names?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or, well, the $40,000 question here. I think the value proposition isn't just the technical innovation, although that double balance is definitely unique and impressive. It's also about the rarity, the direct connection to the maker, the story. It's about acquiring something with real soul, made entirely by hand by a recognized master in his field. You're buying into this specific vision and the whole independent scene emerging there. It's more than just, as GuoBiao apparently calls it, interesting modern utilitarianism. It's a statement piece.
Yeah, exactly. It represents this other side of Chinese watchmaking. Not the mass market stuff we talked about earlier, but true, independent, artisanal work. Watchmaking with a distinct personality, you could say.
Precisely. This watch, it's not just some fluke. It's a really strong signal of the innovation and the genuine craft that's bubbling up in Chinese horology right now. It's a shift you can really see happening.
And that really wraps up our deep dive for today. From a case that, okay, maybe draws some criticism, to this truly ingenious hand-built caliber, the Qian GuoBiao double balance wheel really is a testament to this sophisticated independent scene that's growing in China.
So here's something to think about. In a watch world that often seems dominated by huge brands and mass production, or just the very established luxury names, what other pockets of real innovation and soulful craftsmanship might be quietly developing, maybe in places we haven't been looking closely enough? What else is out there waiting to be discovered?
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you in the next one.